Here's a good rational expression question where you ask to add these three fractions. When you're adding three fractions, you have to get a common denominator. I take a look at these, and here I've got x plus 3x minus 3, x plus 3x minus 3, same, x plus 3 minus x. It's not the same. But I notice that it's just the conjugate. Would it be the conjugate? Well, it's sort of the opposite kind of thing as x minus 3. So there's a trick that I can use to change it so it's the same. So what I can do is I can multiply that expression right there, or that term, by minus 1. And I know that'll change each sign of the thing inside. So then it'll be x minus 3. But I can't just do that to the bottom. I'd have to also do it to the top. So I'd also have to multiply the top by negative 1. Okay, so then let's rewrite what we have so far. So I would have x plus 1 over x plus 3, x minus 3 plus 4 times x minus 3 times x minus 3 over plus 3. And then here, at the top there, I've got a minus times a plus right there. I can just call that a minus. And then I have x minus 1 times x minus 3 all over. This one here switches then to x minus 3 and x plus 3. If you want to confirm that that's correct, if you multiply negative 1 by 3, that'll give you a negative 3. And a negative 1 by a negative x gives you a positive x. Okay, so now I have a lowest common denominator. I can write it down. So it'll be x plus 3, x minus 3. And then on the top I have x plus 1 plus 4 times x minus 3. It's a minus. And then minus x minus 1, x minus 3. Okay, all looking good. Now I just have to simplify the top stuff. So I'll have x plus 1 plus 4x minus 12. I've done that bit. And now here, maybe I should FOIL this stuff first and then apply the negative sign to it. I could do that or apply the negative to the first. Let's just FOIL that for that last thing though. So it'll be x squared minus 3x minus 1x plus 3. That's what you get when you FOIL this. All over that lowest common denominator. X plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, and then, let me move that up a bit. Then I can collect, well, I've got to apply that negative sign. Let's do that. So it'll be x plus 1 plus 4x minus 12 minus x squared plus 3x plus 1x minus 3. Did I do that right? Minus x squared plus minus. Yep, that's right. All over common denominator. X plus 3x minus 3. And then lastly, let's collect all the x's. So x, that'd be 5x, 8x, 9x. So 9x on the top. Well, I've got this x squared thing. I'll put that at the front. Minus x squared plus 9x. So I've dealt with that, and that. And then left I have a 1 minus 12 would be negative 11. Minus 3 would be minus 14. Okay, all over x plus 3, x minus 3. Now, feeling fairly good there. I'm wondering if I can factor this thing on top. I can probably factor a negative out, leaving me with x squared minus 9x plus 14 all over my common denominator. And then this top thing I can factor. 7 and 2, I think. So it'd be negative x minus 7, x minus 2 all over my lowest common denominator. Typically, I probably wouldn't factor that thing, but it's not a bad idea to factor it, just in case you can cancel some things as you go. All right, hopefully that helps you with that question. All right, here's a good subtracting rational expression question. You got fractions, you got to get a common denominator. So let's factor this first thing at the bottom. I think I can take a 2t out, and I'm left with t minus 2. On the next one I can take a t minus 1, that should be, 1. That's a minus in there. And on the next one I can factor out a 2. So then I'm left with t minus 1. So to look for my lowest common denominator, it's got to have this in it. So it has to have 2t and a t minus 1. And then I look over here. Do I have a 2? Yeah, done. Do I have a t minus 1? Yeah. So just that piece is my lowest common denominator. So we'll leave the first one as is. T squared over 2t times t minus 1. And then the next one, it also has to be 2t times t minus 1. But it didn't used to be that. Like, it didn't have a t before. So if I multiply the bottom by t, I have to multiply that top by t as well. Okay, now I've got a common denominator. Let's all write it under 1 there. So 2t, and then t minus 1. And then on the top, I'll have t squared minus 1t. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good with how things have gone. Let me just shrink that a bit. But you always should factor the top and the bottom if it's not factored, just to see if there'll be a common factor of 1 that you could take out. So on that top, I'm gonna factor. I'll go this way. I'm gonna factor out a t. I'll be left with a t minus 1, and then on the bottom I have 2t times t minus 1. So when you look at that, you can see that there's some common factors. So t minus 1 is common. I can cancel that. That's a factor of 1. And then these t's will cancel as well. That's another factor of 1. And so I end up with, on the top, 1 times 1, which is 1. And on the bottom, 2 times 1 times 1, which is 2. So my answer to that question will be 1/2. Now, let me pause there.